Hi everybody, and welcome to my sewing room. My name's Leah, and I'm on week 19 of my UFO challenge, where I've challenged myself to sew at least 15 minutes a day on my UFOs. This week, I'm still going strong with my Pastel Dresden. I got a lot done. If you look at it behind me on the design wall, it may look just like it did last week, but there was a lot of work done. I got all but one of the Dresden Plates stitched down on their backs. I really thought I had them all finished, but when I started to put things in rows, I realized I had missed one. Previously, I had stacked the finished ones in one pile and the unfinished in another pile, and I happened to put an unfinished one in the finished pile. So I thought I was all finished, but I actually have one more to go. But since I was in the zone to already start sewing rows, I went ahead and did that, and I'll save this one for next week. I was still slowing down the Dresden plates, so that took up most of my week, but I did have the last couple days to start sewing the rows. Since this quilt is on the diagonal, it needs some setting triangles, so I'll cut out the white pieces for those. I used my really big ruler for that. It's not very often I pull this one out, but every now and then when I need a nice big side triangle, this one comes in real handy. But it's perfect for cutting those big setting triangles. It makes the job so much easier and gives me those nice clean edges at the right size. It's one of those tools that remind me how much a good ruler can save time and fabric. Even though these setting triangles need to fit next to a 12.5-inch block, with this ruler I was able to cut them out with just a 9-inch strip. So I took those side triangles and I started in the top right corner. Again, since these blocks are on point, I need to sew my rows in diagonals. And this week I got half of the rows together. I spent one of my days just sewing the first 2 rows together. I thought I could whip these rows out really fast, but it's actually taking me longer than I thought. And this middle row took me almost 50 minutes, but I did have some of my pieces fall off the wall and I had to reorganize how I wanted everything to look, just so I made sure I didn't put 2 of the same print next to each other. So there you have it. It's a little short update this week. It's not a lot of visual change, but when you get a close-up on it, you can see that there was actually a lot of work done. On this side over here, you can still see that I have a couple seams I need to sew together, but on this side, it's looking nice and smooth. One thing I've really come to appreciate during this UFO challenge is just how much hidden progress goes into quilting. Sometimes it's not about seeing big changes on the wall. It's about the little details you get done behind the scenes. Whether it's carefully aligning seams, stitching each Dresden plate just right, or pressing each piece so it lays flat, it all adds up. I even took a few moments this week just to step back and admire how far this quilt has come. It's easy to forget when you're deep in the process or when you have to rush a quilt to get it done. I enjoy being able to knock out a quick quilt from time to time, but I also like to take the time to watch a quilt grow and pause and take it all in. It really does feel worth it. Since I spent most of my time last week with the Dresden plates, I really didn't have time to play with the borders, and I'm still really undecided. I guess when I start fiddling around and start putting things together, it'll finally click as to what I want to do. So the goal for next week is to finish sewing up these rows on this half, stitch down my last Dresden plate, and finally start tackling the borders. Thanks so much for following along with my UFO journey, and until next time, happy sewing.